Ancestors by Django Orman.
No, not like that. We've tried that before and to no avail. I just think we need to take a different approach. Okay, yes, that's certainly novel. Start with this, then...
I have experience working at the bar, at uni.
And coffee? Any barista training?
Only at home, but I'm quite a serious coffee drinker. I grind my own beans.
That's already a step up from the last person who worked here. Jamie's also an aficionado.
I do. I am. Life's too short for bad coffee.
We need someone to be quite mobile. Jamie's super quick with her hands, she just can't move about that much.
The leg?
It's a caliper brace from a car accident a few years ago. Just need a little extra support from time to time.
We all need a little support from time to time.
Sometimes we feel more like social workers here. Hey, Sammy? We have a few colourful characters.
God, yes. People carry all kinds of history with them, you know?
I don't mind. We all have our quirks.
Mustard, pickles, no. Never mayonnaise with blue cheese. Yes, that's the perfect burger. Of course, a brioche bun. I'm not a savage.
Keep an eye on old Joey over there. Mad as a box of frogs.
Talks to no one half the time. Has entire conversations.
Seems harmless enough. Well, I'm free to start right away.
I'm not going to lie, that does stand you in good stead. We could try this afternoon, in fact. It's nearly lunchtime now.
Nothing like diving in at the deep end.
Great. Sandwich toppings are at the back of the walk-in fridge. They'll need topping up throughout. Watch out for the condensation outlets. It can get slippy around there. And serve takeaway coffees before anything else. The rest you'll figure out.
What's a torque wrench again, Griffey?
Jesus, Frankie, you've been with us for about a year now, and I swear, I have to explain everything to you about 12 times.
About a sprocket short of a gearbox, you are, Frankie.
Yeah, alright, Stevie, leave it out.
If you ever considered a different line of work, you're still young, you could diversify.
The old man wanted me to get into mechanics. Reckons it runs in the family, and that some of it must have seeped in over time.
But at school, weren't you into art and painting and stuff?
Pretty good at it, I heard.
Didn't exactly get on well with the art teacher, like. I could never just do what they asked. Always had my own ideas. Everyone else thought mine was better than the teachers too.
Ooh, that never goes down well. I have that problem with Griffey here.
I wish. Well, Frankie, that mural you did out front is genius.
Where do you learn to do that?
Honestly, I don't know. I could always just paint things like.
Perhaps we could steer you towards the more creative jobs around the place.
Hey, Griffey, those radiator hoses still need cleaning out. I reckon it's more Frankie's level.
If you wouldn't mind, pal.
Fine, okay. Griffey, which ones are the radiator hoses?
Bleeding hell. Reach up to the box above the lubricant shelves.
Just make sure you get the big ladder. Small one won't reach.
Yeah, the small ladder will reach.
No, Frankie, stop, wait, the other one.
Watch it!
Dr. Small, this will change everything.
If it works.
It will.
Certainly a game changer. How did the earlier tests fare?
Better. Still not complete abolition, but better. It's more effective in a gas form.
Yes, as a suppressant. It's effective, but it was the application that was failing.
Can it be overdosed?
That's the most likely amendment.
And the communications, did they stop?
The subject will still need routine ingestion of the substance.
We need more tests. Suggestions?
We need more subjects.
And a greater sample base will give us more of a scope to fine-tune.
I propose we scour the trauma ward at St. Mildred's again.
Agreed.
He's coming around, Stevie. Get him a cuppa.
Oh, Frankie, you're a walking disaster. You okay?
You don't look like the chipper type to me.
Chipper?
Cripes, Griffey. I think this is a serious knock.
Well, I see you're the state the obvious type. I say.
You say?
Take it easy, Frankie. You're talking all funny like. Stevie, where's his cuppa?
Right away.
You must be little Mary's offspring. Pleased to meet your acquaintance.
Yeah, Mary's me mum.
Your mum? What are you talking about your mum for? Shall I give her a call, eh? I'll get the phone.
You say?
Well, Frankie, I can only assume you're named after my good self. A great something or other. You've got the Whittledorf bone thrush, all right? You lucky thing.
Forgive me for not knowing what the hell is going on here, but what the hell is going on?
Frankie, my child, this is going to take quite some explaining. I suggest you take that tea and take a seat. Best not risk arousing any suspicion of lunacy.
Alex. Hello, Alex. Oh, Jamie. Why am I on the floor?
Just a little slip, honey. Nothing too liable, I don't hope.
I think you knocked your head. Come sit over here. You okay?
I'm fine, honestly. Just a little shaken. I've had worse.
Spain, Portugal. I've never been to Lisbon. Nice idea. I hear they do good seafood.
Oh, here we go. It's box of frogs time again for old Joey.
Maybe he's not mad. Not in the sense that you think. Just because there's a conversation in one's head doesn't mean it's not real to them.
Aye, true. You're a kind soul. Very understanding. I do like the way you look at life from a different angle.
My dear?
Yes?
Yes, what?
You just called me my dear.
I very much didn't. It doesn't even sound like something I'd say.
He didn't.
Okay, who was that?
Alex, who was what?
He can't hear me. Alex. My name's Bray.
You're freaking me out.
Me? What did I do?
No, not you. The other voice.
I'd refrain from the crazy talk if I were you, my dear.
Are you all right? Take a seat. Okay. It's calming down here anyway. Perhaps we should get you checked out at St. Mildred's. Sammy, I'll take Alex to the trauma place at St. Mildred's.
That's not a good idea, Alex. I wouldn't recommend that.
Yes, Jamie, I'll see you later.
I don't feel right.
Gently does it. Up we get.
What he's gone and done is, he's used the short ladder to get the hoses down.
Didn't reach. Plummeted right onto that fat old noggin. We said to use the big ladder.
Strangely, you're not the only ones to have done something in that vein today. We've had a couple of head injuries. Well, the painkillers will help take the edge off for a bit. Frankie, you'll feel nice and relaxed for a while.
Thanks, nurse. I don't suppose you've heard of head injuries having any kind of effect on people's brains?
It's entirely common for you to feel disorientated. Why? Is there anything specific? You're not hearing voices, are you?
No.
Right then. I'll be back later.
Have they gone?
Yeah.
Listen, mate, I don't want to give you the heebie-jeebies or nothing, but something don't feel right about that nurse.
They was asking about your family and the like.
As soon as we gave them your surname.
Whittledorf, right?
Yeah?
Wow, the questions started getting real personal-like.
The nurse is right. It's only for observation.
Just for another few hours, then you can take Alex home. The painkillers will make you feel nice and relaxed for a while.
I'd say, what are these things?
2 head traumas for you to take a look at, Dr. Glover.
Excellent. Any sign of communication?
It's looking likely.
Have you dosed them up?
Same as before.
Dr. Small says you're open to being discreet about our visitations. Is that so?
We appreciate the discretion, and the remuneration is quite generous. You understand?
Understood.
Morning, Alex. Morning. You couldn't hear me at the hospital, could you? Interesting. A decent rest has done you the world of good. You know, I connected with your Uncle Keith a while ago. He was in a boxing club, although he was pretty useless, constantly getting concussions.
I'm going to have to start taking you seriously, aren't I?
We have work to do, Alex. I need you up.
Okay, let's assume for a second here that I'm not losing my faculties at an alarming rate. Humour me. Do you have any kind of an explanation for this?
It just needs a trigger, an action of some kind to start things off. A near-death experience. A knock on the head. Humans are amazing creatures, Alex. We've accomplished feats no one thought was possible. Flown across the skies. Cured illnesses. But you know what? Some of our most amazing abilities have been hidden away from us over the generations. The ancient Mayans, Romans, Egyptians would talk to who they thought were their gods. Buddhism, Taoism, Confucianism, all were in contact.
A nice history lesson, but...
The Samburu people of Central Africa are the most in tune with their elders. That was a fascinating study, although it must have been 100 years ago now. Can you play the piano, Alex?
A bit random, but yes, I can. I played loads at uni.
Do you remember learning?
To be honest, not really.
You could just sort of play, couldn't you?
Yes.
Did you ever wonder why?
Alex, are you in? Sammy said to take the day off and wanted me to check on you.
Sure, just a minute.
I can come back.
Hang on.
But I had a thought. I'd like to share something with you.
Come in.
About your voices from yesterday.
This sounds interesting.
I was just feeling confused from hitting my head.
No, Alex, it happened to me too.
Ooh, go on.
Go on.
My caliper. It came about from a car crash. It was tragic, really. No one's fault either. Just a patch of ice and the young fella span clean off the road and into my crappy hatchback, mashed with my leg.
I'm sorry that happened to you, Jamie. How is that related to this?
Let him finish, my dear.
I hit my head too. I was knocked clean out. For a while afterwards, I was a bit groggy, but I swear I had a conversation with this old soldier who was telling me a story about being a prisoner of war.
Did it seem real?
Clear as day.
It happens more often than you think, Alex. People are just conditioned to suppress it. I bet they gave him some medication.
Did they give you medication?
They still do.
Monoamine oxidase.
Monoamine oxidase?
Yes, how would you know that?
I didn't.
I did.
Bray did.
Bray?
I'm your great-great.
My great-great?
Yes, I am great. Great something or other.
Great something or other.
And you can hear them talking?
Yes.
Apparently.
I find this quite reassuring, you know.
Tell this Jamie we have work to do, and to drop that monoamine oxidase right away.
Ditch the pills, Jamie. You've been told. Apparently we have work to do.
You stay here, where we can keep an eye on you. Another cuppa?
Griffey, you were right. Them two suits talking to that nurse. We're just over by Frankie's place. They look well sus.
That's because they are incredibly suspicious.
Uh-oh, he's back.
The voice?
I can't hear it.
No, dimwit. We're not related. We have no reason whatsoever to be connected in any way. Sometimes I wonder why people open their mouths.
Ah, he's taking the mickey out of you.
Surely you are. It's in your head.
Hold up, Stevie. Let's hear this out. You've got my attention, all right, Frankie?
An experiment, please. If you will, Frankie.
Apparently, we're going to have an experiment?
They're mechanics. Ask them if they're knowledgeable on the classic motoring. Automobiles.
Alright, you two into old cars and the likes, yeah?
Yeah? Why? We're restoring an old Model T at Griffey's place.
Nice. Yes. The Model T was a standard back in the day. Ask them if they replaced the Babbitt rear end flush washers with bronze replicas.
I've been told to ask, did you replace the Babbitt
Rear end flush washers
rear end thrush washers
with bronze replicas.
with bronze replicas?
Frankie, me old friend. For someone who didn't know a torque wrench from a radiator hose yesterday, that's a very nuanced question.
I don't know what to say.
Makes for a smooth ride, does it not?
I hear it makes it smoother to drive.
Yes, it does. Not as authentic, though.
You're quite right. Griffey, is it? But we must embrace change.
You should keep up with the times.
Frankie, whatever happens to you, I like this new version. Ask for any thoughts on the original ignition system.
Why isn't this more known about?
You heard that, right?
Yes, I can hear perfectly. There was a resurgence of communications during the two great wars. Times of extreme, heightened emotional stress regenerated this connection. But when they realised people could start communicating with their elders, their ancestors, and sometimes even just long-standing friends, there was a chance these gifts could be abused.
And were they?
Not to my knowledge. For me, it was about learning from the past, a journey of discovery, so many unanswered questions.
It's very boring when you only hear one side of a conversation.
Sorry, Jamie. I'll fill you in later. So, could you talk to your ancestors?
That was a long time ago. Many things have changed. There were 3 of us.
It was myself and another scientist by the name of Bray who began the research. We noticed it was occurring mainly due to times of hardship, emotional traumas, coupled with physical adversity, wars, disasters, famine and such. The human mind is able to tap into a deeper state, find connections it didn't know were there. We suspect it's actually quite commonplace within the animal kingdom. A dog's instinct to chase a stick, bird's scent to glide to the highest branch, a cat's fussy appetite.
So there's a dead cat ghost telling other cats not to eat catkins.
No, not ghosts or spirits. Ancestral connectivity. Did you know that elephants have learned to be fearful of a man holding a gun? Doesn't even have to be a gun. You could point a stick at an African bush elephant and it would scarper. Evolution doesn't happen that rapidly. An eagle spying a rodent from a half-mile away, swooping down to grasp it with its claws. That takes thousands of years. A seagull pinching some chips from a child's carton. That's a party trick that's been passed down.
Okay, maybe, I'm not totally loony.
People exist beyond their mortality, Frankie, often through their children. But if you spend enough time with anyone, you can channel their energy. To an extent, it works for the living.
You know, sometimes if I'm working on a car, I can hear Griffey and Stevie giving me pointers, but it's all in my head, sat there with me.
Indeed, some people are more naturally in tune with these abilities. Let's presume that that's something you can attribute to me.
Good to see you up and about, Alex.
I'm feeling much better, thanks, Jamie.
Alex, honey, would you mind doing the bins outside? Lunch rush is over and they collect them in about an hour.
It's all glamour here.
We've been watching you, Alex. I suspect you've been questioning your sanity for a while.
Excuse me? Who on earth do you think you are?
We'd like you to relax. The communications come when you're stressed.
When you're in touch with a more primal state.
I'm not mad, am I?
Not so.
It's never easy to explain.
You've been communicating with your ancestors.
Like ghosts? Spirits?
Not exactly. It's actually a lot more tangible than that.
When a girl is born, she will carry all the eggs for her menstruation for her whole life. If that girl goes on to bear a child, that child will have existed within their grandmother, albeit as an egg.
We call that a hard connection, a physical lineage. But there are also...
Soft connections?
No. Try not to be so lucent.
Indirect reciprocity. That's when sharing space and time could filter in experiences and thoughts, simply through a coexistence of matter.
Why shouldn't there have transmitted a small degree of mental or emotional correspondence? It's possible for a kind of connectivity to pass on through generations.
We've seen it continue as far as the 6th or 7th generation, in fact.
So this is an incredible gift. Think of what we can learn from the previous generations.
I've heard someone say that before, Alex.
You'd have thought it'd be a gift, but it's dangerous. We've had fraud, blackmail, robberies. Safes are the most common. In one case, They bought a flat once belonging to a deceased old lady.
It's surprising how often people disremember to change their combinations.
You think my family look wealthy enough to have ever owned a safe?
Then there's knowledge of account details, passwords with more recent generations. We will simply look at ways to help you ease the burden and cease henceforth.
I don't want it to stop, though. I'm really connecting with my ancestor?
We have been sanctioned to keep tight control of people with your particular ability. Do you understand?
Don't move. Don't flutter an eyelid. You don't want them to know I'm here. Just agree.
Sure.
And it's not worth your while failing to comply. Can we expect your cooperation?
Hell no.
Help.
Don't say that. Just agree.
Help me to help you.
Things can get complicated, ugly.
The cafe would be required to undergo a lengthy safety screening protocol.
Mountains of paperwork. They'd be closed for months.
We have the remit to impose criminal sanctions.
And it would be very easy to sign you off as having long-lasting neurological effects from your trauma. Hospitalisation.
You need to act as if you want to comply. Sell it.
I don't want to cause any trouble. I'd just like to get back to work.
We hoped so.
Here's an initial treatment plan. 1 a day for 2 weeks. And everything will be back to normal before you know it.
Be sure to take one now, Alex, but hold it under your tongue as you swallow.
I'll get started right away. I'd like things to be back to normal.
You want us to do what?
Break into secure facility to uncover a global conspiracy.
Break into a secure facility to uncover a global conspiracy.
You're aware of how that sounds, aren't you?
I know. There's really no other way of putting it.
Yeah, sounds way too Hollywood for my liking too.
Don't Hollywood make talkies about jazz singers?
We might need a bit more information to go with.
There is a team of us who are researching these connections people were making after the Great War.
Scientists researching after World War One.
Oh, right.
It's always a scientist, ain't it?
But when Bray and myself were keen to learn from the past, the third member of our team, Dr. Kilbride, was more interested in how it could be exploited for personal enrichment.
There was another scientist who was basically greedy.
Okay.
And from a facility in East London, they've monitored and controlled people's ancestral communications ever since.
They've been keeping tabs on everyone.
That makes sense.
So you want to get in there and shake things up a bit?
Sometimes, with friends, you just have to go with your gut and do what feels right, regardless of how nuts it sounds.
I'll close down the shop. Frankie, get the van. Where are we headed?
Blackchurch Lane, Whitechapel.
Spit it out! Spit it out! That little pill will shut down all of your senses, suppress your ability to communicate. I've seen it happen 1,000,000 times.
Alex, you're here. I saw those 2 people in suits coming out from back, looking suspicious.
They won't leave you alone now.
I get the impression they'll be back.
I get the impression we don't want them back.
We've got to go to the source, find some evidence that can expose this whole thing. Grab your friend. Show me the way to Whitechapel.
Jamie, are you free? We've got work to do.
Do you think they'll both come?
Bray, absolutely. Frankie Whittledorf, more than likely.
But surely they wouldn't both be in connection at the same time.
Unlikely, but plausible.
Let's assume it's possible then.
The rear cargo entrance hasn't been altered in 100 years. There's a passage up the side that has access to the storage area and the records room. That's where they'll try to enter.
The storage area can be locked from the outside, both doors.
And do the air ducts still work?
I tested some subjects last week. They do.
Bray always said to me, if things went south and we ended up being moved on by Kilbride, then we should leave copies of the initial research in the records room. There's a mahogany desk with a back compartment.
There's a secret cabinet with evidence.
But that's been there for, what, 100 years? I don't think so.
Not filling me with confidence either. People are constantly modernising these places.
This thing was enormous. That's why we chose it. They built a room around it, weighs just shy of a ton. I can't think anyone would want to move it.
Not this cabinet, it seems.
No.
If this is true, and whoever has been running the facility, won't they have barricaded the place?
From the front.
From the front
And the back?
And the back.
and the back.
So,
There's a cargo area with a passageway behind a pillar. Terrible design if you ask me. Your great-great-uncle Hubert was an architect, actually.
Secret passageway.
Okay.
Tell your associates they'll need some tools for undoing bolts. And some paint.
Right, grab the torque wrench and one of those touch-up spray cans.
you're getting there, Frankie.
Behind this pillar. It's an old service corridor.
Not in the best of condition. It's been torn apart.
Someone's been here already. Why is there paint here? It's still wet.
There's an FW painted on the wall.
Dr. Whittledorf, I knew it.
Dr. Whittledorf? Is this good or bad?
Whittledorf, what a coincidence.
What did you just say?
What did you just say?
Oh, nothing. It's not a name you see very often, but there was a Whittledorf in the hospital next to you. There were some people making quite a big deal about the name, which I found slightly odd.
Coincidence?
Perhaps.
I'd assumed that myself, but they transferred you there. The nurse wanted to keep the head traumas together for some reason. That was the really odd bit.
This nurse must be part of the network. That's how they keep tabs on new potential communicators.
What now?
Now, let's see what's inside, of course. It's filthy in here.
100 years worth of junk and debris. Ah! Are you all right?
My leg, the caliper, it's caught on something.
Pull it.
I'm trying. I'm stuck on this rod sticking out.
You're making it worse.
Look, you've bent it into the metal.
I have all the sympathy in the world for you right now, but we must be expedient.
Just hang on. I'm not leaving Jamie like this.
No, Alex, it's fine. It's basically an obstacle course for me down here. Give me a few minutes to bend it free and I'll wait by the door. Make sure we don't get locked in.
You sure?
I'm holding you back. Just promise you'll be in and out ASAP.
I've no desire to reminisce there.
Promise.
This way, this way.
Someone needs to clear out this passageway. It's filthy.
Got my new trainers on, damn it. They're trash now. Can we go out the front?
This way.
Yes, this is the old chamber. Regretfully, it was used for rather untoward means.
Oh, crap.
Where to now?
You're predictable, Whittledorf.
Me?
Glover?
Glover, Junior. You get the picture.
What happened to you?
We learned to control our abilities. Your research was quite illuminating.
We could have achieved so much good together.
Or instead, we could have accrued so much wealth and invulnerability. This is what the closest thing to immortality feels like, Whittledorf.
Alright. I can see you're all in the middle of something here, and I don't like it. How about Stevie and I show this doctor some hospitality? Invulnerable, did you say?
Readying, Dr. Glover. Indeed, Dr. Small. Open the air ducts. In the meantime, we don't want you running off.
What's that?
This is the cargo entry door.
Do we know what's on the other side?
We can't afford to not at least try.
Who are these people, and why are they lying on the floor?
This is the patient from the trauma ward, young Whittledorf.
Glad you can join us, Dr. Bry.
Glover. It can't be you.
In a way, not. A younger version, perhaps.
What have you done?
Those without the ability to communicate will cast aspersions upon those who can. The gulf will become even wider, a culture war like never seen before.
We could have shared this knowledge. We could reunite the factions of society, relearn unforgotten skills.
Readying the air ducts, Dr. Glover. They'll take another few minutes.
You were the best, Bry. And you were right about the monoamine oxidase. Except we formed a better delivery to disable communication. Permanently. Gas form. You didn't think of that.
You'll overdose the subject? Overexposure?
It's proven to be effective. Indefinitely.
Readying.
Coming.
I could hear you from the other side.
Jamie, you were supposed to wait outside. How did you get free?
I just took the bloody thing off.
We must think quickly. You're becoming faint to me, Alex.
Jamie, my connection has been suppressed. You need to find us help.
Tell Jamie he needs to focus. Look deep within. Be calm. Still.
Calm yourself down. Meditate. Do whatever you need to do. You heard that voice before, didn't you? You can hear it again. Who was it? Who was your ancestor?
Ready when you are.
I just remember the name Officer Jones, some army person.
Tally ho!
Tally ho, that wasn't you, was it, Alex?
And we're back in the room.
Yes, you, I remember you.
I should bloody well think so. Well, this is quite the predicament.
We need help.
Has he made connection?
Looks like it.
Jamie's injury was severe, mind and body. A severely heightened emotional state. It might be possible to dig a little deeper and find one or two more kicking around in there.
Jamie, Bray says it might be possible for you to discover more ancestors. Can you search deeper inside?
Focus on the crash. Use it.
Take yourself back to the crash. Feel the pain, the terror.
Easier said than done, it was awful.
Partridge is the name. Officer Jones, it's been a while.
Partridge, nice to be back in your company.
Well, this is quite a predicament.
Partridge used to work on the railways. Finest locomotion mechanic in all of Derbyshire.
You're too kind.
Have you any suggestions that might aid our present company in exiting this incarceration?
Let me think.
There are more people here, I can feel them.
Salutations on this fine morrow.
And you are?
They calleth me mauve, like the colour mauve.
I don't suppose you've got experience with escapology, Mauve?
Prithee not so, albeit I could furnish you with a ditty, a song, perhaps out a lark and a starling. Darkest night be still, upon the morrow rise a song.
Oh my.
What? Who have you found?
Sounds like a 17th century minstrel.
How quite fascinating. That's the furthest back I've seen anyone go. Very talented.
If we could fabricate some kind of device to invert the jet.
Yes, it would be the same principle as the atmospheric expansion from an old firebox.
Forsaken my sweet embrace, as the spring flowers do bloom upright.
Still no answers?
Be patient, Alex. I think we're making progress.
Saith be the day of your fairest depart. The lark and the starling shall be there, in thou's true heart.
The minstrel's not helping, but Partridge and Officer Jones are conjuring something up.
Evening, Squire.
Jules!
It's been a while, ain't it?
Jules?
Jamie, is it? Quite a talent you've got there. Right, where are we?
We're fabricating some kind of device to invert the jet.
Well, I've got something for you.
Are you an engineer?
Not quite. I used to work in the mill down in Padstow, but I've seen these before. Is that some kind of brace?
My leg caliper.
Let's take a look. Right, tighten the joints here and here. Use this coil to jam in the vent. Then prise the gasket.
Yes, it will overload the joint and force the valve to invert. You'll need to tie in place to account for the additional pressure.
Shoelaces! There's not a prison that could hold me when I had a pair of shoelaces.
And the morrow to come.
Alex, give me a hand with my caliper. We've got a plan.
Ready to initiate experiment.
Standing by.
Commence.
Commencing.
What's that sound?
It's coming from outside the chamber.
Why aren't they being affected by the gas?
It's coming back into the control room.
How?
Something in the gasket. The valve.
That would mean...
It's leaking directly in here.
Table 6 and 11 are ready to order.
On it, just a tick.
I spoke to Frankie. They finished closing down the facility. Glover and Small don't recall a thing.
What will you do now?
Glover is right, you know. I'm not sure it's something the world is ready to understand. It does sound far-fetched, but it's hard enough getting people to accept the basics, like climate change and vaccinations. But there are changes to be made, and I can see myself entering a new career in clinical neurology and applied neuroscience. What can I say? It just comes naturally to me.
Well, take your time. Maybe people just aren't ready.
I don't know. Some people are. Old Joey's communicating again.
Anchovies, capers, olives, it's the best.
Pineapple. I've always wanted to try it.
No, not on a pizza. Gulpy dying.
Ancestors by Django Orman. Alex was played by Ella Anderton, Bray by Phoebe Dalton, Jamie, Eleanor Buffery, Frankie, Tom Kelly, Griffey, Oliver Lucking, Stevie and Dr. Small, Lawrence Maloney, Dr. Whittledorf, Isaac Hope, Dr. Glover, Tyler Reason, the nurse, Freya Phillips, and Old Joey, CJ Maloney. All the other characters were played by the cast. This was a Playbox radio production.